Welcome back to 2016 Impact. This time, we turn our focus to the crimes which occupied our minds this year.
The Forensic Science Center is as grim a barometer for the level of crime in the country. With over 400 murders recorded and over 100 fatal road accidents for the year, the pathologists at the facility were very busy. So much so that in August, Dr. Valery Alexandrov put down his scalpel, demanding that the government do more to support the workers at the facility.
I'm not the only one who is responsible. Who is responsible for the shortage of staff? Who is responsible for this? I cannot find another word to call it mess going on here. I mentioned so many times that if we have additional mortuary attendant staff, we can arrange 24/7, 365 service. That if these standards are not followed, the system eventually collapses.
Dr. Alexandrov said more staff was needed and pointed out he had went well over his recommended quota of autopsies for the year. He returned to the job after assurances were given by the Ministry of National Security. The country's murder tool, however, gave no assurance that Dr. Alexandrov and his colleagues would do any less work. Brazen murders rocked the nation from as early as January, with the first two murder victims being 6-year-old Jodel Rabnat and 68-year-old pensioner Alvina Warner.
Everybody was on the road watching the scenery and all the fireworks and we just see people start to run. So okay, we turned around and started to walk too. And I turned around, I realized, I realized she was on the ground. And when I turned around, I saw good that my mother who got shot there. And I saw like blood spraying out from her neck. And I just take off my jersey and I wrap it around her neck.
Warner would be the first of over 40 female murder victims for the year, but we'll have more on that in a bit. The sequence of murders in January raised many alarms, but it was the incident of January 21st that truly shocked the nation, when Success Laventille students Mark Richards and Neil Smith were pulled out of a taxi on Picton Road and murdered in broad daylight.
This is not real. This can never be real. I was in living in somebody. And somebody, I was in somebody's body. I know it's happening, so I had to be in somebody's body, and it's just happening to me. I hear, but it's not surreal at all, because I cannot. The maid I did put my child out of a car. It's out of a car, and there's.
The double murder prompted the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, to call the army into Laventille.
As ridiculous as your actions are, you talk about war. This is not war. This is unpatriotic, destructive action. Because war usually involves a response from a combatant who may or may not be your equal, but certainly not innocent school children.
The murder toll for January shot to 47. And the murder toll steadily kept rising throughout the year, prompting the opposition to call for a meeting with the government concerning crime in September. Even that would not stem the tide as murders continued to occur, particularly in north, east and central Trinidad, many of them being caught on camera. This July 22nd murder of Isaiah Hospitalis on Arpita Avenue prompted his family to hold a vigil at the site of his killing and start a charity drive in his name. Notably, during this spate of murders, Laventille would go 3 months without a murder until Ian Clausel was killed on the night of local government elections. 7 children were officially classified as murder victims for the year. Like the aforementioned murder of 6-year-old Joel Ramnat, shooters were not targeting 9-year-old Cian Paul, who was going to get dinner in La Romaine, but instead he was hit by a stray bullet as bandits robbed a bar.
I know I need justice. I'll never Lord acts. Boy is a young boy. 9 years.
Of the 400 murders, over 10% of them were that of women. The 46th woman believed to be murdered in 2016, bank worker Shannon Banfield, was reported missing on December 5th. She was found dead 3 days later in IAM's warehouse on Charlotte Street. Her death sparked outrage throughout the nation, with renewed calls for the death penalty to be reinstated. A march in her honor was held on December 19th. A boycott of IAM was called for on social media after it was revealed that CCTV footage was not immediately released to police when Banfield was reported missing. IAM did release their footage to the TTPS, and Dale Cicheran, an employee with the company, was charged with her murder on December 20th. Cicheran had been detained by police on 3 occasions following her discovery, before eventually appearing before Chief Magistrate Marcia A. Caesar. The court matter has been adjourned to January 17. Like Hospitalis, a Shannon Banfield charity fund was set up to aid the victims of similar crimes. I'm Peter Christopher, looking back at crime's impact in 2016.
Recovering masqueraders either made their way to the beach or forced themselves to face the office on Ash Wednesday after a hectic Carnival Tuesday in February. But Japanese national Asami Nagakia did not make it home alive to do either of the two. The discovery of her body at the Queen's Park Savannah opposite Queen's Royal College left many citizens in shock, even embarrassed to know that a visitor could not return to her homeland. Some people in authority even blamed the incident on possible lewd behavior at carnival time. The death of the Japanese panist had a major impact in 2016, and Mahalia Joseph looks back on it.
Nagakia's body, still dressed in her legacy carnival costume, was found around 9:30 a.m. Nagakia, a trained musician by profession and a tenor player with PCS Silver Stars, had arrived in Trinidad on January 8th to participate in Carnival. Geoff Adams of Tamina gave us his reaction when he saw her body.
Returning from the Election and Boundaries Commission, which is Frederick Street, I decided I'll pass through the Savannah by Napa to come to where I am at the Kirasi. Yeah. And while coming home, there was a guy making an alarm. Something in the chair. I said, Zamaniko, I'll go on the man see. So when I come now and see, it was a Caucasian in a yellow bikini. I ran over by Kirasi and made a report to St. Clair Police Station.
An autopsy conducted by forensic pathologist Dr. Valerie Alexandrov revealed on February 11th that the Japanese panist was strangled to death, but there is no sign of sexual assault. When friends and fellow panists learned that Asami Nagakia was murdered, they took to social media to vent or just pay tribute. Members of the PCS Silver Stars Pan group said they were heartbroken to have lost a member of their family, one of their bright stars and a loving friend. She joined the group in 2012 and fell in love with the group, and they loved her in return. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said Asami's death left a bad reflection on the country.
But that's a very terrible development which reflects so badly on us, because Carnival is the time when we invite people to come and visit us, to party with us and to enjoy the culture.
But some were not too cautious before making statements. On February 10th, Port of Spain Mayor at the time, Raymond Timke's statements suggested that Asami Nagakia's death may have in some way been linked to a culture of lewdness. It rubbed many the wrong way, resulting in a petition calling for his resignation, along with heavy criticism on social media. Mr. Timke would then apologize for his remarks, which he said were taken out of context the next day. Amid calls for his resignation, he maintained that his statements were meant to encourage women to put protective measures in place, as too often they are the victims of abuse at the hands of others.
Women have a responsibility to protect themselves, right? And with a combination of alcohol and music, people do things that are involuntary, and therefore there has to be some controls. Otherwise, they run the risk of putting themselves in danger. I don't see anything wrong with that. Everybody all over the world knows what happens with alcohol and music to the human mind, right? All kind of things that happen, and you know what? There are men who would observe those things and pounce on a woman if he realizes that she's out of control. And all I'm saying is one has to be careful to protect themselves against that happening to them.
His apology didn't help. Womantra said the mayor's comments were not only inappropriate but also troubling to the entire female population. They said he made a number of dangerous assumptions and links between her dress, behavior, alcohol consumption and death. On February 12th, scores of women and even some men marched to City Hall in Port of Spain in protest over his statements. Similar protests took place outside the Trinidad and Tobago High Commission in London. On that day, women and men called on the government of Trinidad and Tobago to remove Mr. Timke as the mayor.
Instead of addressing the issue at hand, he chose instead to shame women and accuse women, tell women that they have to be responsible for their bodies, when in fact it is the state's responsibility and all of our responsibility, of course, to be and treat each other with respect and safety. So it is not about how women dress, it is not about how women carry themselves. The language that he used is completely and utterly disgusting. And
While many protested for Timke's removal on February 12th, several band members marched from the Silver Stars Barnyard to the spot where the body of the Japanese pianist was found, where they lit candles and placed flowers for Asami Nagakia. Drill master of Silver Stars Marcus Ash told the media he was disappointed with the comments by Port of Spain Mayor Raymond Timke.
He should be held accountable for his actions. Whatever that is, but I believe that what he said, everything must have a consequence to that action.
His Worship the Mayor of Port of Spain, Raymond Timke, has announced his intention to resign from his post. This after he came under fire both locally and internationally for his comments following the murder of Japanese pianist Asami Nagakia.
Mr. Timke eventually tendered his resignation and Deputy Mayor Karen Valentine was made the Mayor of Port of Spain. To them, Asami will always be remembered as a Trini. No one has since been charged with the murder of Asami Nagakia. I'm Mahalia Joseph, looking back at a story of serious impact in 2016.
We take a short break, and when we return, we continue our look at 2016's impact.